Herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren neuen Ausgabe von David trifft. Heute nochmal aus Südfrankreich, wo ich aktuell noch im Auslandssemester bin. Und ja, die Folge wird heute nochmal auf Englisch sein. Ja, einfach dem geschuldet, dass Französisch hier ein bisschen ungünstig wäre. Und ja, die Folge wird sich dem interessanten Thema des Modejournalismus widmen. Und ja, ich würde sagen, viel Spaß und let's go. So, welcome, Sascha.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
So, what can I say? My name is Sacha Paraiso.
Mhm.
I am 20 years old.
Mhm.
I'm French, as you can
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
I'm currently following courses of journalism in third years in superior study
Yeah.
in France, in Aix-en-Provence.
Mhm.
And yes, that's it.
Yes,
I
great
think.
introduction. Yeah, so that was the way how we met. We both were studying the same in Aix-en-Provence, and the idea of the subject today is the fact that when we first met, everyone presented themselves, and you said you want to do more journalism, and I found that very interesting. So maybe to start with, the first question: can you maybe explain something? I would say it's your passion, right? The more journalism.
Yeah.
Can you say maybe something about how this passion came up? Did it start in your childhood? Maybe your parents inspired you. Can you say something to this?
Yeah, I think that mode in a global way, like I was into it since I'm a child because my mom work in like fashion.
Yeah.
She's, I don't know if we can say it in English, but she's chef costumière. Like she designs
Yes.
and pick clothes for the cinema industry.
Mhm.
And when I was a kid, I followed her on on TV sets and movie set, and like there was a huge wardrobes all around me, and I think that since then I've been in love with clothes and mode
Yeah.
in a global way.
So it was was it your mother who inspired you?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And when it comes to journalism, I can say that I'm a bit of a Nibo baby because my dad was a journalist too. So I think I linked my two passions into my future job, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Great answer. So yeah, now you're studying, we can say like communication, journalism in general. How is it? Do you know what like possible ways are to enter the job? Like for example, is there a specific master that offers that kind of journalism, or do you have to create your own business? Is it more that?
Uh, there are some masters that can be linked with mod journalism. There is one in, I think it's La Sorbonne in Paris. The name is journalisme culturel. So it's all about cultural journalism,
Yeah.
but it's very, very hard to get into it. So I think for the best for me is to continue to master less directed to mode journalism, but instead of that, creating my own media, like on social media, like Instagram and TikTok,
Yeah.
and short videos talking about fashion, etc. I think it's the best for me now, and I will see after my master what I really want to do. But now, if I want to talk about mode, such as I don't know, like fashion runways, etc., fashion week in Paris, Milan. I think the better option is to create my own channel to talk about it.
Yeah, right. I know you already did some, like a video, for example, online. I think you're also quite present in the social media, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
You started.
I did a bit of
Yes,
video.
yes. And did you already, like, in your past, did you have any experience? Did you, like, visit, for example, mode, like shows or something like this? Not yet?
No, not yet.
You want to?
I hope one day
Yeah.
I will be invited to fashion show. It's a dream since I'm a childhood. But recently I went to Paris
Yes.
to visit the city that Simi grew up, and I went to an exposition to two exhibitions. The first one was Du cœur à la main. It followed the brand Dolce Gabbana in its collections alta moda, so like high, I don't know in English the word, but haute couture. And it was incredible to see all those masterpiece that was created by the hand. Du cœur à la main, do you understand what it's? It's like the heart
Yeah.
with the hand. Like all the pieces were made with
By
the
hand?
hand,
Ah,
by
okay,
hand
okay, yeah.
with the heart.
Ah, okay.
And it was really incredible. There was like 17 rooms. It's a huge exhibition.
Yeah.
And the second was the Louvre Couture in the Louvre Museum. And two, it was really fun to see like mode pieces linked with art, like paintings, etc. So yeah.
Okay, right. You said it's also a business that it's like hard to enter. Can you explain this? Like, is it because of the grades you have to have good grades, or is it you need to have the right contacts to get like in this master, or is it a master? Or like, what makes it that hard to get in? Would you say?
I think this world is similar as cinema. Like, it's very coded and a niche
I
to
understand.
get in. But nowadays, it's democrated a little bit more with social media. I saw a lot of person on TikTok or Instagram who was like 60K. It's a huge 60K, but it's not like you are Kim Kardashian. And those people are already invited to fashion shows. They have gifts from brands, etc. So it made me kind of,
Relax.
like relaxed, because I I think that maybe now with social media it's still hard to get into this part of society, because it's kind of another part in the society.
Right.
It's really hard to get into it. So, but with social media, I think it's a bit easier, but
Yeah.
just a bit, because it's quite hard too.
I see. Yeah, you mentioned social media. Do you think maybe even nowadays it's like even for example the social media is more important than for example a master? Because I think it's hard, but you can actually build an own brand with social media. Do you think this is nowadays a good chance to get famous? Maybe more like easier than entering the master and being one of thousands. Maybe then like are there good chances to develop and achieve something just through social media? You think that, or it's too hard?
I think that in order to get famous on social media, firstly, you don't have to make video in order to become famous.
Yeah.
Because it won't work. It's,
right,
it's obligated that
Yeah.
it won't work. But if you feel that you have something, just do it. Because I don't think that a master will really help me
Yeah.
in order to in order to be a mode journalist. When I see who are the mode journalists, except for, I don't know, like maybe Loïc Prigent, it's a famous French journalist. I don't know what is his degree, but I don't really think that he did a master, and if he did, it was a long time ago.
See.
Nowadays, most of the people didn't make journalism studies,
Yeah.
and they are still like not really journalists, but they made the same work, and they talks about things that they love. So I think that in order to become a mode journalist, maybe you need to have something in you, and you have to be passionate, because it's a world that is incredible. And when I see, like, for example, people like Lily Jane Juville, she's a French influencer who is talking about mode. I think she's from Marseille, but now she's living in Paris. Like, she films, how can I say, runways, etc. And but she's in communication, I think. Or I don't really know what she did, what she does, but I'm sure that she is not a journalist. But she does the same same thing. And for example, another man whose name is on Instagram, it's at Tetskata.
Good name.
He's a graphist, but same, he works for media, a pure player in Instagram, and I think they are on Twitter too, and they have a website, Views, and he made all their I don't know, voiceover, les voix off.
The voiceover?
Like when you talk,
voiceover. Yeah.
Voiceover.
Yeah.
He makes all the voiceover, etc. So I think that you need to be passionate and have something to you. And I truly think that social media now can be a good thing to work it out in this world.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think, for example, when you don't actually need a master that you actually learn about, especially your passion. I think also more journalism is a field that can be entered in a practical way with your own experience. You don't need forcément, especially the master for learning it. So now where we maybe can have a look in the future, maybe. Do you think that more journalism, as well as the journalism in general, will it maybe be replaced by IA, for example, or do you think there will be something that will always exist, or like how do you evolve that?
I think it is the great question we all ask when you do journalism study. If I think that AI can be quite good for the journalism work. It can never replace human. I just saw on X that ChatGPT 4.0 had a great update, and now you can put a picture and it create the picture, but in a, for example, Ghibli style or Simpson style.
Okay.
And I think it is fun, but it could never replace like a human drawing, you know. So I think it is the same thing for the journalism in a global way. Maybe in like 10 years there will be some articles written by AI, but it will never have the soul of a people, of a person who really writes from his own soul, and with all the things that he learned from his life, etc. So I don't know if journalism will be the same with AI. All I know and all I hope is that human will adaptate to work with it, and to not let AI replace them.
Right. Okay. And like you said, maybe you're writing articles, for example. Can you really explain in detail what your exactly plans are? Like, do you want to work for a company, for example, that goes to shows and report about it, or you want to be in front of the camera reporting about something? You can precise your ideas.
I think one of my main inspiration, I talked about it early in the podcast, but it is still Loïc Prigent. Loïc Prigent began to be a journalist I think in the late 90s, and he began with writings. So he wrote articles from, I think it was Libération, a French journal. And now he's making a video on YouTube, so he has a cameraman with him, and he's just filming a runway, interview with people, with famous influencers like Squeezie, Lena Situation, who are key person now in the fashion world. And I think that maybe it's more important to shows really like what is fashion, whereas to write it. I think that you lost it a bit of magic when you write what you see, what you just saw at a runway, whereas that film it and describe it, like have a voiceover, like for example Loïc Prigent, with like in his video he shows what the models are doing, like they're walking, and he describes their tenue. Like he can be okay. So this model wears a jacket in denim. She has a white trousers with some sandals, for example. And I think it is better for the person that don't really know the specific terms, whereas to read it, because if you don't know, for example, what is a jacquard motif, it's complicated. But if someone said this is a jacquard motif, and you see it, you will know that this is a jacquard motif for the for the next time.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think that maybe in my beginning, maybe I would write it or like tell it in the radio, but my goal is to talk about it in video, because I think that mode and fashion, it's created to be shown.
Right. And also maybe you want to be in front of the camera speaking. Is that what you like?
Yeah,
Right.
like in front of the camera, but I could be behind it
okay,
too,
okay.
because I really like to give my point of view to people, to see, for example, sometimes accessories are better than the own outfit, you know. So like, and you can see it because it's small details on some jackets, on the buttons. It is monogrammy. I don't know how we say it in English, but for example, some Louis Vuitton jackets, in the buttons here, there are the L and the V designed. Like for example, in Bottega Veneta jackets, there are the signature of Bottega Veneta here, and I think that to zoom in some pieces, it's important. So yeah, I could be both. I could be in front of and behind of the camera.
Right. Okay. Right. So we all got to know that you really have a passion for more journalism. But what I would find very interesting is to get to know what exactly like fascinates you about. Can you explain or precise what your what makes you like addicted to more journalism? Like, is it just the mode, in fact, or is it the like, you know what I mean? Like, can you explain your passion?
Yeah. Since I was a kid, I always love to talk about my passions with other people, to share it, you know, whereas it's cinema, music, art in a global way. And I think that to link journalism with fashion, it can be always good, because I don't want to like be a niche person. I don't want to be specific on one collection that happens when I wasn't even born. No, my goal is to like be a door into fashion worlds. Like, if you don't know fashion, you can watch my channel and you will understand a bit, like what is a fashion week, when is fashion week, because there was a lot of fashion weeks.
What is a fashion week?
It's hard, but there are multiple fashion weeks, like spring, summer, so and fall, winter, for men, for women, haute couture, prêt-à-porter. So it's hard, and it is in different cities. So Milano, Paris, New York. It's quite hard to follow when you don't understand why there are a lot of those. And I want to be the man that help you to get into this world that I think it's fantastic.
Right.
And if I want to talk about niche things, I have my friends, and I don't think that it is cool to talk about niche things with people that don't really know or don't really care about fashion, because it will only disgust them. to see one bit of a great world like that.
Right. Okay. You mentioned, for example, some cities, Milano, New York,
Yeah.
Paris. Do you think, like you're living in France, do you think France is it's a good country to get into that field, to get into this business? For example, there's, of course, there's Paris, but maybe there are, I don't know, it's a question, better countries to get into that, or would you say, for example, Paris is the best city?
I think that France is kind of great, but it depends where you are in France. If you are not in huge cities, can be hard. Like for example, in southern France,
Yeah.
you don't see people wearing extravagant fits. Like they, for example, in Aix-en-Provence, they're all like they with little trousers, good and gentle sneakers,
Yeah.
maybe a shirt when they work, etc. When I went to Paris like 1 month ago, people were wearing more different things like trousers with the skirts on, like layering, colors, and I think that is great. But maybe France is not the greatest country in order to really express yourself into fashion, but such as I don't know, like Milano or New York, they are like Paris, but it's still the same. Like when you are in the far west in America, you will not dress like if you were in New York.
Right.
I think maybe one of the country that participates in the elaboration of creating style, etc. It's maybe Asia with Japan style, K style. I don't really know about Chinese fashion, but I do know that they are a bit like they are creating some things. I think there are a brand named Li Ning that gained a lot of popularity on social media. But yeah, I think that the most the country where you could be the most you, maybe it's Japan, because on social media I have only the social media vision, so I'm not sure
Right.
if it is really true, but from my point of view and what I see on social media, I think that Japan and Tokyo, for example, are are quite good city in order to
Right.
express yourself, and
Right.
a quite good country to do it.
So would you say maybe it's an option for you to go there later?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, of course.
I would love to go to Japan.
To live there also, or just to go?
No, I don't know to live there, but to be there like for a month, it's one of my dreams. But not only for fashion, for all the culture, like music, for example. Of course, les mangas, anime, etc. It's really what I'm into since I'm a really little child.
I see.
So yeah, it can be a dream. And I followed a series of vlog by the French media Camino TV. They went to Japan like for, I think it was 2 weeks, and I was like, wow, my mind exploded when I saw all the shops that were in Tokyo designed by Atmos, for example, one of a big brand in Japan, and it's fantastic.
Right.
Really, it's fantastic. Like I think brands like Issey Miyake, Yoji Yamamoto, like Y3, Y3, Comme des Garçons are incredible brands, and when you dig into the archives, you see magnificent things. And I have a recommendation if you are in Paris, but I think there are some shops in London and New York too. You can go to Dover Street Market. So Dover Street Market is a huge shop, minimalist. You can't buy anything unless you are very, very rich.
I imagine.
But there are some pieces that you will see just once in your lifetime because they're so beautiful, but it's very expensive.
Right. Okay. So I have to say I don't understand a lot all the brands you mentioned. Like, and you also said it's a field of business. It's hard to understand. For example, when we have you here as an expert, can you maybe give a short introduction about? So I know there's a fashion week, for example. I did hear about that. I heard some brands, but um, can you maybe give like some like a basic introduction, because you also said this is what you want to do. Explain a little bit the idea. Can you, like, is it possible to give a short introduction what more journalism is? I don't know about, because I yeah, like I said, I don't really have like a lot of ideas about it.
Okay, so you want me to explain like
A little bit
what mode journalism is
is
really?
about a little
Okay.
bit maybe.
As I said, mode journalism is not really like, it can be deep, but I think it's mainly to follow news and to predict brands and trends, not brands.
Yeah.
Sorry. Because, for example, recently Jonathan Anderson, who is a British creator, director artistic, artistic director, it's
Right.
and the other side, left Loewe, a Spanish brand, and it was kind of a seism, I don't know, a shock for the fashion sphere, because he was in the brand since I think it was like he did that for 11 years. So it's hard, and the journalist's job is to do, okay, so Jonathan Henderson left Loewe. This is what he did for the house that you know. What can be his future, and what can be Loewe's future? You know, like who gonna replace him? Because in order to create a collection, you have to think about it. You have to create some mood boards, like they are huge, etc. And as a journalist, a mode journalist, you have to decrypt that to like, it's the journalist's job to decrypt what really is to create things, to be in the fashion industries, the stress for the director, the creative director, the financial aspect too. It's important to see it from my perspective.
Is it good paid, this business, or is it hard?
What?
Is the salary, for example, is it hard?
I don't really know what you gain when you are creative director. I think that you gain well in life, because, like, for example, people like Pharrell Williams, he's a creative director for Louis Vuitton. I don't think that he touches a bit. I think that he was rich and he gets richer with his job, but I think that it's still a fashion. It's still a passion job. Like, I don't really know if a creative director does this job, for money.
Yeah.
I think that it's more a
Passion.
way, to expression themselves, in order to like a painter, for example, or a writer, to
It's art.
to create feelings. And as I said, like, for journalism, journalists, you need to understand this, to be at his place, to understand him,
course.
to follow him.
To know what
So
to talk about.
to understand him. So you need to be yourself quite of a creative director, for example, or model, to really understand what are all the things behind it,
Right. Okay.
behind the collection, for example.
Okay. Yes. Very interesting. So maybe lately, taking a look in the future, do you think that, I don't know, you will go all in, for example, and you will try to do anything to get into that business, or you think you will try to balance it, maybe to focus on journalism in general and keep the more journalism as a passion, or you think you will try anything to put all your time in social media, or try anything? You have ideas? Any words on this?
This is a question that I've asked myself, but like 2 years ago, and I have two options. If I don't succeed in mode journalism, which is quite possible, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be possible.
Yeah.
But if I failed, I have the cultural journalism.
Yeah.
So I could talk about art in general, and I will talk of mode. But there is also like literature, movies, music, and if I don't succeed in all of those, I still think about another thing, but it's like the opposite. Yeah,
Okay.
it's about like geopolitical journalism.
Okay.
To talk, to analyze what is going on with the world, with relation with countries, etc. So yeah, those are my two options.
Right. Yeah, I think the future will show that. So yes, thank you very much. It was very interesting to get some insights. And ja, I would say thank you for watching. Und an der Stelle wieder auf Deutsch. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal an der Stelle. Ciao.